Miss Wolf. I am at another school today and I'm setting up for the art show that's going to be this afternoon. So if you want to come, ask your parents to bring you to Saddle Ridge Elementary and Middle School. They have both there. And you can come see the art show. It's right after school from 4 o'clock to 7:30. I will be there tonight and I'm there right now while you're at school, setting it all up, getting ready for it. So today I'm going to have Miss Carnia show you this video and you can get started on our drawing that we're going to do today and tomorrow. So we'll start it today and we'll finish it tomorrow. We're going to be drawing a picture that looks like this one, a zoo. We're going to be going to the zoo. So we're going to draw a path or a sidewalk and make it look like it's getting farther and farther and farther back, just like we did when we drew the drawing on Monday for the contest where you drew a road and tried to make it look like it was moving farther and farther back. This time, since it's a zoo, we can add lots of animals to the zoo. It'll be lots of fun. We'll have some kind of building at the end of the road and put some animals in it. We may end up putting the animals in it tomorrow. And today you can draw all the other parts. I'm going to show you how right here on this video. Excuse me. So hopefully you remember on Monday we learned about the kind of drawing where all the lines point to one place, like Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. Here it is. Do you remember the Last Supper painting? All the lines in the picture were all pointing. They're all pointing down to the middle of the picture. All of them pointed right to the middle where Da Vinci decided to put Jesus. So everything was pointing that way to make the room look like it was a 3D place, like a real room. And we're going to make our zoo look like in a real place. So we're going to use perspective too to make it look like the path is getting farther and farther away. Like this one I found on YouTube. It's kind of a cartoon picture. It looks like an entrance to the zoo. So the path is getting it's wider here at the front and it gets smaller and smaller as it gets farther away. We're going to do that too in our zoo. So it looks like we're going through the zoo. It could be a sidewalk already in the zoo, or it could be at the front of the zoo. It could be anywhere in the zoo because there's lots of sidewalks in zoos where people walk around and look at the animals. So today we're going to start drawing it, and then tomorrow we'll add the animals and we'll color the whole picture with markers, with some bright markers. So the first thing you need is your sheet of paper. So Miss Carnia is going to give you a sheet of drawing paper. It's a big one. It's a little bit bigger than the one I have up here on the board even. And you need to write your name on the back like we always do. So take your pencil out of your box and write your name on the back of the paper. Miss Carnia can stop the video and wait till everybody's ready. All right, now hopefully everybody's ready to draw your picture with me. We're going to turn the paper landscape direction, so it's long across because it's outside, it's a landscape. It's not tall and skinny, it's long across. So turn your paper long across. That's very important. Okay, and because it's a landscape, we're going to draw the line between the ground, the land, and the sky. So the ground or the land is important in a landscape. That's part of a landscape. And sky usually too, if you can see what's above the ground. So let's draw a line. Start on the side of your paper and make it a little bit higher than the middle. So find the middle of your paper and go up. And then you're going to draw a line from one side all the way over to the other side of your paper. It could be wavy. It could be straight. It could be hills or flat ground. It's up to you. It's outside, so there could be lots of different kinds of ground outside. Hills or flat plains or mountains even. That line has a special name in landscapes. It's the line, you don't need to draw this, but it's the line where it looks like the sun comes up and the sun goes down. Does anyone remember what that line's called? It has a special name that starts with an H. That line is called the horizon. It's a horizon. So it's called the horizon line. It goes across. Another word for lines that go across is horizontal. So horizon is in the word horizontal, and it always goes across in a landscape. You don't need to write that word. I just wrote it so you could see it. All right, so we have our horizon line. The next thing we're going to draw is a point where it looks like all the lines that go back, all the lines on the sidewalk and on the fence are going back, and they're all going back to one point. We need that point to be kind of in the middle so it will look balanced on two sides, but we don't want it to be below the ground because that would look like we were a little worm crawling around on the ground. So let's put it above the ground and in the middle. Put a dot or a point in the middle above the horizon line or over the horizon line. It's not under it, it's above it. All right, now we're going to use a ruler next. So get your rulers out of your boxes. I'm going to use my big yardstick, which is as long as 3 rulers. Get your ruler out. And we're going to put the ruler on the edge of the corner, right on the corner of your paper, and on the dot. If your ruler doesn't reach that far, just point it that direction. Like if it's only that long, just point it the direction of the dot. So it's pointing towards the dot, pointing at it even if it can't reach all the way. But if it does reach all the way, make it go all the way to the dot. Then we're going to draw a line on the edge of our ruler, on the side of the ruler, pushing against the ruler, all the way up straight to the horizon line where the ground stops. We don't want our line to go above the ground because it's not a bridge, it's not going up in the air, it's staying on the ground. Sidewalks usually do. Sometimes they go over little bridges. I saw one in Chattanooga at the aquarium that did that. But that makes it a lot harder to draw. So let's just keep ours on the ground for now. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, for the other side of the sidewalk. Put your ruler on the corner and on the dot. If it doesn't reach, just point it that way and draw a line on the edge of the ruler all the way up to the ground. The ground stops. So our sidewalk or path or road, whatever you want to turn this into, looks like it is stopping where the ground stops. My computer has decided to stop. Let me see, make sure our video's going. Yep, it's still going, good. So we've got a path, a big triangle shape, almost a triangle. It shouldn't touch up here on the line. Those 2 sides of the sidewalk shouldn't touch each other. They look like they would if they kept going all the way to the dot, but they don't go all the way to the dot. But if they did touch, this would look like a big triangle shape. That's the sidewalk or the path. And then on the sides is the ground where we could put lots of animals at this zoo. And then above the line, you remember what that is? Yep, that's the sky. Some things can stand on the ground and reach up to the sky too. So like trees and a building that we're going to draw can reach up to the sky. Let's add something else to our sidewalk or path first. Let's make a little windy part that looks like dirt, like a place where people have been walking. So we're going to draw a curvy line next to the straight line on one side, and then a wavy or curvy line on the other side. It gets wider or bigger at the bottom and smaller at the top, just like the path that had straight sides did. See if you can do that. Make a curvy line on each side. We could draw a creek or a river this way too, because it's very curvy like water. There probably wouldn't be a creek running right through the middle of the sidewalk, but it's kind of like a dirt path in this picture. All right, now let's draw some fences, because in a zoo, you really don't want the big scary animals like lions to come out of their area and be where the people are on the sidewalk. That would not be good. So we need a fence to keep in the animals so they don't escape and they don't get hurt, they don't hurt each other or anybody else. We're going to draw the top of the fence first. Those lines are moving away from us, so they're going to go to the same dot. So we're going to line our ruler up again with the dot and make it as high on the side as you want your fence to be. Your fence could be short, but lots of animals might need taller fences. So it could be taller. You could make it real tall and stretch it up instead of down. I'm going to put it a little bit over to the side, and then you're going to draw a line, start a little bit above the ground. So you're starting right over the line where the ground was, and draw it all the way over to the edge of your paper. And then we've got a space for fence in our drawing. It locked me out again. I gotta put my code in. I wonder if I can fix that. So there's the top of the fence and the bottom of the fence. And we'll do that on the other side because you probably want to put a lot of animals in this zoo. This is your zoo. You can plan whatever types of animals you want to have at your zoo. So let's make some nice fences for the animals. Make the top of the fence go a little bit higher than the ground on each side, so it looks like the fence is standing up on the ground. Because fences do, they don't lay down like a sidewalk. All right, I'm going to use a different color for this next part because it's a tricky little part and it's small. So I want you to be able to see it really well. At the end of the fence, where the fence stops, we need a line going straight down. Can you see what that orange line is? Let me move this closer. So at the end of the fence, we need a line that goes straight up and down between the top and the bottom of the fence. Make it straight up and down like the side of your paper, straight up and down. And it will look like, that one was leaning, it will look like your fence is standing up if those lines go straight up and down. So you have your fence standing up and not laying down like a sidewalk. That is a tricky part, but it makes it look very 3D. And if you're not sure if it looks like it's standing up or laying down, you take your paper and hold it up and look at it. If we hold our papers up and look at it, it looks more 3D than if we look down at it. So if you're not sure, hold your paper up and check and see if it looks 3D. Or if the lines are straight up and down, or if they're leaning. If they're leaning over, it'll look like your fence is leaning over. And we're going to draw some lines on the fence. Some of these lines are going to stand straight up if they're poles that are holding up the fence or pieces of wood that are holding up the fence. So those lines need to be straight up and down, just like the side of the paper is straight up and down. And you can draw them between the top and the bottom of your fence. As it gets farther away, it's going to look like these sections, these parts of the fence are getting smaller and closer together. So I'm going to start putting them closer together as they get farther and farther and farther away. So you can do that to look like a wooden fence, or if you want it to look like a fence that's made out of chain or pipes or wires, well then we need some lines that go across too, but they're not straight across, they're going to the dot. So the lines in the middle are slanting to that same dot. Put my ruler on the dot and right through the middle of my fence and draw the line. Make it stop when your fence stops. I didn't know I had to erase it. We don't need the fence to go past the fence. That would be silly. You can put as many lines across as you want, but they all need to go to the dot if they're going across the fence. And if they're standing up, they stand straight up like the side of your paper. So I'm going to draw some on the other side of the fence, straight up and down. And as they get farther away, they look smaller. So they get closer and closer and closer together. And in the back, they'd be real close together. That's really far away. You could put the lines through the middle if you want, but you don't have to, because there's different kinds of fences. It could be a wooden fence. It could be a fence or a wall made out of glass too, where you can see your animals through it, but you don't see holes in it. So if you want to make it a glass wall, that would look cool too. I've seen those in zoos before. What kind of fences or walls have you seen in the zoos? You could draw whatever you've seen, or you could make something up too. So Miss Kearney can stop the video or pause the video right now and help you with your fences. If you need help, just raise your hand. And then we'll start it up again when we're drawing some more things. Okay, I'm back. Now that we have our fences in the picture, we're going to draw a building. Any kind of building you want at the end of your path, at the end of the sidewalk. What do you want at the end of the sidewalk? It could be the place where you buy tickets, the ticket office, or it could be the gift shop, or maybe it's a habitat place for an animal that has to stay inside. There's lots of reptile houses at zoos where they keep snakes inside because it gets too dangerous or too hot or too cold for some of the animals to live outside. So we're going to draw a building at the end of the road. It's pretty far away, but if you want it to be a big building, it's still going to take up quite a bit of space in your picture. So let's start with a rectangle or a square for the part of the building that's right in front of us. We'll make mine stretch out pretty far. It needs to stand on the ground because that's where buildings are built, on the ground. You might want to put a triangle-shaped roof on your building, just a point right in the middle, slanting down on two sides. We probably need a big door because at the zoo, lots of people go in and out, or maybe two doors. I'm going to put two doors on this one where you can go in one door and out the other door. So I'll make this the gift shop, but yours could be something different if you want. I'm just going to write gift shop. maybe zoo gift shop. There's the zoo gift shop. What are you going to turn your building into? Draw your building and turn it into a building that you might see at the zoo. You can also add other things like trees. There's lots of trees and bushes and plants at zoos. They make it real pretty there with all the flowers that they plant and bushes and lots of trees for the animals to give them shade. You could have a playground. I've got a slide here in this picture. If you want to put a playground in the picture, it might be by the gift shop or the building that you drew. I'm going to make a slide. There's a slide with the ladder and the curvy sliding part. And maybe a swing set. So kids can play at the playground at my zoo. Lots of zoos do have places for kids to play. Have you been to one that had that? You could draw some trees. Remember, if the trees are far away, they're going to look really small. And if they're closer, they're going to look bigger. They're going to be thicker and wider, and the top's going to be bigger too. And you need to erase any lines inside because you can't see through trees. So I'm erasing the little black line there. You could add some trees, some swing sets, lots of details to your zoo. We'll put the animals in there in just a little bit. You could add some things to your sky too if you have a big sky area. Some people might have a really small sky area and you might not have much room to draw some other things. But you could draw some things in the sky that float or fly or tell us what time of day it is. There's the sun peeking out from a cloud. Could be a sunny day, a rainy, wet day, or a nighttime picture with the animals at the zoo at night because they live there all the time. So it could be nighttime. You could have some things that float or fly. Here's a balloon that got away from some little kid and is flying through the air. Hope none of the animals eat it. That would be bad. I think I'll write in and out on the doors on my building. That's a detail, a small thing that makes it look more real. In and out, so people know which way to go in and out of the building. Tomorrow, we're going to use some stencils. Those are shapes that you trace to help us draw some zoo animals in our drawing. I have lots of different animals that you might find in a zoo. Like here's an elephant. The computer has shut down again. Let me put my code in. Yep, there's the elephant stencil. Here's the lion that I have in my drawing. There's lots of different stencils. This one's a swan, kind of like a duck. So you'll take the stencils tomorrow and put it wherever the size of the animal makes sense. Like this lion, it's a very big animal. So if I put it down here at the bottom, it would look like a little toy, not like a real lion. And if I put it way in the back, it looks as big as a building. It's not really that big. So it needs to be kind of in the middle to make sense. So when you decide which animals you're going to draw, then we'll put them where they make sense. And you just trace around inside the shapes on the stencil. Some of them have just one shape and some have lots of shapes. Like this one has lots of shapes for its body. And there I have the shape of the lion. Can you see that? Yep, he's in there behind the fence. So tomorrow we'll draw lots of different zoo animals in the drawing, and then we'll color the whole picture with markers, and I'll show you how a good way to use markers when coloring a drawing. All right, I can't wait to see what you did today with Miss Kearney when I come back tomorrow. And I hope our digital friends can take a picture of your drawing, not a picture of me, take a picture of your drawing and send it to me on Google Classroom for Art or on my email. See you soon. Bye-bye.